Hey, it's Money Monday, and it's me, Shani, going to be talking about how to build your business credit. So, if it is one of your goals to go ahead and build your credit for this 2021, right? WON, because we're making sure since we in it, we might as well win it, right, sis? All right, so for those of you that are tuned in, I want you to open up your actual purse. I want you to open up your spiritual purse. I want you to open up whatever it is that you attach to. Sis, if it's your stimulus check, then it's your stimulus check, right? Whatever it is. And I want to make sure that when you come into this space where we talk about money, that you feel wealthy, that you get information that will allow you to increase the amount of money that you have access to, not just for the sake of having money, just so that you can be able to improve your choices, so that you can improve your power, so that you can improve the things that you get to do in your free time, how you take care of yourself, how you take care of your family. And that's Shani, and that's money therapy. So go ahead, open up your spiritual purse, your actual purse, your bank account, because I'm about to give you some money, honey. Okay. Sometimes we have sis, sometimes we have sir. So it doesn't matter to me. You can be purse empowerment, you can be wallet empowerment, as long as when you come into this space, you get some value so that you can exchange it and make more money for yourself. So open up. Now, I got myself a new gun for 2021, and I'm expecting that it should behave in a way that, I feel valued. But if it acts stinks, sis, you got to remember that I'm from Miami. So if the gun don't work, I'll just make it rain, sis, okay? All right, so open it up. You ready? It's coming real slow, sis. It's coming. But it came at you, sis. It came at you, sis. Okay. Did you get the money? Did you get the money, honey? Okay, so I hope you got the money, honey. Okay, so for those of you that are thinking about building your business credit, let's say, for instance, if you wanted to take advantage of some of the SBA loans, if you wanted to get PPP, and you weren't able to take advantage of any of those things, what I hope is that as those opportunities continue to unveil themselves, that I provide you with some information to provide the possibility of you being able to gain more access to cash, right? And when you have more access to cash, that means that you have access to more creativity and you have access to more choices. And more choices, it creates a circling environment for more money. And that's purse empowerment, okay? So luckily today, I'm not having this conversation by myself. I actually have one of my money mentors with me. She's an attorney. Her name is Tanya. She has been helping people for a very long time build their business credit, stop commingling money, understanding entities, right? Because sometimes people create their businesses and they don't know whether or not if it should be an LLC, if it should be a sole prop. They don't know if it should operate as a DBA. They're not really sure. So tonight, me and Tanya, we're going to bring her on and give her some purse empowerment money, and she's going to give us some purse empowerment wisdom and wealth. So let's welcome Tanya. Hey, Tanya.
Hey. How you doing?
This is Tanya. She is an attorney, and she can help you when it comes to helping you build your business credit, as well as understanding how to operate as a business in a way that's going to stop you from having to pay so much money in taxes. Okay, sis? So what you want to do is we build a conversation. Any comments that you have, just drop them in the comment section. As always, I have some giveaways, okay? I'm going to drop a quick link for those of you. So for best questions, if you're going to be tagging, if you're going to be sharing for sure, then you can get my book, 10 Things Every Woman Should Keep in Her Purse, as a free gift. I'll be watching you in the comments based on your participation. And so I'll hand out. I got a few copies, so just stay tuned, okay? All right, outside of that, this month for the money therapy event that we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be making candles, okay? Let me try to bring those two conversations together for you. So because I want your business credit to be lit, I want to make sure that you make some candles, right, sis? I know. You got the connection. So what we'll do is we'll get together and we'll talk about your business, right? But when we finish talking about your business, we're then going to talk about how to make a candle to make sure all month long your business is lit. You get it, sis? Drop me a money bag if you get it, sis. And sir, drop me a money bag if you understand that we want your business credit to be lit, sis. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is this term, right? It's a term that many people don't like. And for those of you that are taking notes, here's one of those nasty terms. It's called co-mingling. Co-mingling, right? That's when your business and your personal money are mingling in a way that is not going to work for you, right, Tanya?
Yep.
Alrighty, so this operation where oftentimes when we're building our businesses, for sure for me, for a long time, I lived in that space where my personal credit did support my business credit. So I too was having a negative relationship with my personal credit, even though it was strong, right? But I was really putting too much of my personal expenses on my business. So, Tanya, can you start talking about how to begin to move that relationship a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. When we talk about making sure that we have two separate entities, and when I say entities, I mean people say individuals, sometimes people say entities, but I consider your personal and your business as two separate entities. So when you set up your business as an LLC, S corp, C corp, or sole proprietorship or partnership, it needs to not be in a business, it needs to not be in a personal account, that you should keep everything separately. So when we talk about setting up the right business entity, we want to look at, if we have an entity, is it going to protect us from liability? Now, when you think about liability, we want to think about shielding all of our personal assets from being taken from creditors, possibly being looked at during a litigation or a lawsuit, that they will say, well, you know what, you have your personal funds going into your business account, or you're paying some bills out of your business bills out of your personal account. So we want to make sure that we have two totally separate accounts for everything. And even when you're starting a business, we want to make sure that when you're starting your business, we have our receipts and everything to start that business separate, so you can have tax write-offs and all your expenses written off. So I always tell people that, when we try to put our businesses and create our businesses, we want to make sure that we have an actual either QuickBooks or some kind of accounting system that we can reference when it's tax time, to show that we have our expenses that are totally separate from our personal expenses.
So, one of the things that oftentimes when I'm working with my clients, and I know that all of them just make the assumption that they should have a LLC, right? They should just make the assumption that, hey, my sister, my cousin, my brother, my aunt, I seen it on a building, I saw it here, I'm just going to go ahead and get an LLC. Can you provide some parameters on how someone could be making a choice between which type of entity they should be creating?
Absolutely. The LLC in most states, that's the easiest corporation or company to begin. You can have an LLC as a single person, or you can have an LLC with many different members. And one person may be a managing member, or you can have a partnership or an S corp, which is a type of a corporation, but with an S corp in comparison to a C corp, which most large corporations, when you think C corp, you think General Motors, you think Chrysler or something like that. They may be a C corp and they'll have a number of different shareholders. With an S corp, you only can have up to 100 shareholders. So I always tell people that the best entity to start is based on what tax advantages and taxes strategies that you want to have. So we can't go into too much detail right now, but I'm going to tell you this. The liability protection is what you really want to look to, as well as the tax strategy options. So when you think about liability, if you have a partnership or if you have a sole proprietorship, all of those liabilities flow directly to the person. So if I set up a sole proprietorship, or if I set up a partnership with somebody and someone tries to sue me, or someone tries to sue the partnership, the liabilities are going to flow directly to me personally, and my personal assets are going to be at risk. So I usually tell most of my clients, most of my customers, that when you want to form a business, an S Corp, a C Corp, or an LLC are the three businesses that you should possibly look at. Now, there are nonprofit businesses as well. That's a whole different genre. But when you think about forming a company, I look to those three. And when you think about the tax advantages of each one, LLCs are considered flow-throughs. And so you can take some of your expenses and it'll flow through to your personal expenses, as well as an S Corp being the same. But the difference with the S Corp is that there's a cap on the amount of taxes as an employee that is granted. So you mean there are a number of different options, but as far as liability and tax strategies, I always tell my clients LLC, S Corp, or C Corp. Now, the problem with a C Corp, the downside to a C Corp is there's double taxation. Okay, so the liability part of the C Corp is better than of course, the sole proprietorship and the partnership. But when it comes to taxation, the C Corp has double taxation. The corporation is going to be taxed at a certain amount, as well as the individual is going to be taxed at a certain amount.
So for those of you that are just joining the conversation, I am going to go ahead and drop the link so that you can register for the larger event. What we're going to be doing there is that we're going to be having this conversation. So we're going to have it all month long. We're going to have different topics. But for the larger event that we're having, I'm going to drop the link to make sure that you guys get registered. It's called So Your Business Credit Can Be Lit. First, we're going to be giving out some business credit tools, much like in this conversation. And then we're going to make some candles, because I want you to have something the entire year, sis, so that you're focused on building your business credit so that you can leverage it. I know that was the turning point for my business when I became more organized and when I stopped putting so much of my expenses on my personal credit. My business just turned completely. So that's why I want to continue to provide this information so that people can begin to expand their businesses. And when you have access to more cash, when you have access to more lending, when you have access to more funds, the creativity that you used to operate off of, it's a whole different ball of wax. Okay, so we already talked a little bit about just the basis of choosing an entity. Hopefully you guys were able to gather which entities to go ahead and select. If you're operating right now as a DBA, you are losing tons of money in taxes. If you're operating as a sole proprietorship, if in the event that there's a lawsuit, if you are a trainer, if you cook, if you make candles, if you do hair, someone gets burned, someone gets hurt, any of those things, they can take your car. They can take your home. They can take the money in your personal account. So that's why you need to have some type of buffer between yourself and your business. That is the main reason why you do it. And then the other side is going to be the liabilities. Okay. So for those of you that have those type of questions, if you have more of them about how to select your entity, drop it in the comment section. Tanya is here. She's an attorney. She's been helping businesses protect themselves for over 20 years, and she's been helping to build their business credit as well. All right. So Tanya, for the beginning of the conversation, if someone is a 2-year-old business and now they're saying, I've been living off of my, personal credit to build my business, to get all of my inventory, but they want to move. They're ready to do bigger. They're ready to do better. What are some of the first steps that they should take?
First of all, I tell people that, if you're already in business, we go through kind of a checklist to make sure that your business is what's called credible. And when I say credible, it means that you have not a business that doesn't have an actual telephone number, doesn't have either a virtual office or actual office, that has an actual website, that if a vendor or a creditor wanted to go and check out your business to see that this is really a business that, we feel comfortable loaning money to, so they can buy inventory, or so that they can expand, and they're not going to use that money for personal expenses, we can go and check their state website and see that the business is actually active and is actually viable. So I'm going to give you like 5 things you can look for to make sure that your business is credible. Is your state business listing up to date? In Michigan, it's called well, we have what's called mich.gov, michigan.gov, where you actually go and apply for LLC or S corp or corporation. Make sure that that's always active. Sometimes people don't pay their yearly fees and it lapses. So that's the first thing. Make sure that you have an actual viable phone number. So if I call your business, are you going to answer it as your cell phone number? No, you need to have an actual telephone number that is listed on 411.com. And third thing, you have to make sure that you have some sort of an address, and it cannot be a PO box. Now, in some cases, some people might try to use a UPS box or something like that. I always tell people that you needed to at least try to get a virtual address. If you don't want to spend the money overhead for an actual virtual or actual brick and mortar address. Some people say, well, I have a home business. The thing about having a home business is that if you use your home address on your business registration, everybody in the world is going to have your business, your address, your home address. So in an effort to try to keep that separate, now I'm not saying that you can't do that, but I'm saying that in an effort to try to keep that separate so the whole world won't have your personal address, you might want to make sure that you have a virtual address. So in addition to that, we want to make sure you have a website. So your website needs to be up to date with good information, have your address, contact information, privacy policy, your refund policy, your terms and conditions. All of these things need to be on your website. Now I can go into more detail at a later date about what the website needs to have, because if you're doing business all over the world, because that's the whole purpose of, now being a global economy, that we can do business all over the world, there are certain other laws that you have to be concerned with. If you're doing business in California and you're in Michigan and you have an email list that has people in California and they want to opt out of your list, then it's called the CCPA, which says that as a business owner, you have to make sure that they have the option of opting out as a person as a business that's holding these email addresses. And if you're doing business in Europe, the equivalent to this CCPA, which is in the United States, is called the GDPR. So I'm giving these acronyms. You can go back and Google them. I'm not going to go too deep into the legal aspects of these things, but you have to make sure that your business is credible, covers all of these issues legally, make sure that all of these things are viable, and you need to have a Dun & Bradstreet number. So I tell businesses, you may think that, you're starting this business and, it's going to be a side business, but you need to think bigger. You need to think about the future. And when you want to be able to sell and have customers all over the world, a Dun & Bradstreet number is what you need. Okay. You can have an EIN number, which you need to have for tax purposes. And people say, well, I have an EIN number, which is your tax identification number. And the vendors are going to be able to look to that to make sure that, that they can give me business credit. That's true. But if you want to ever sell to the government, if you want to do business in other countries, the purpose of having the Dun & Bradstreet number is to have a global identification number for your business. Okay. So make sure that you have your business up to date with your state. Make sure that you have a telephone number that is utilized and not a cell phone number. Make sure that you have a correct address, not a PO box. Make sure that you have your Dun & Bradstreet number. Make sure that you have a great website. My 5 tips. Just today.
Okay. All right. So those are just some base level tips of basic things that you will need in order to even begin to build your business credit. You need to have those bases in place, some very simple things. We did get one question from Nina Julius. She's asking if you are registered as a corporation but did not make revenue, should you file an 1120 just for loss?
Yeah, you should still file 1120. If you're an actual S corp or C corp, you still need to file your 1120. You need to have all your expenses together. And when I say, I always tell people this. People think that, I can just pull my bank statements, or if you already have business credit, I can just pull my American Express statements. No, you actually need to have the receipts. If the IRS comes to you and they want to audit you, they want to see receipts. They don't want to see a bank statement. They don't want to see your American Express statement. You need to have those receipts, and you need to have, I would say, a good accounting system, easy one, QuickBooks. So this is, if you're going to do business and you want to think about scaling up, and you want to think about actually being a business that you can get funding for, not just business credit. They're two different things. When I talk about business credit, I talk about you can get gas cards, you can get Visa, MasterCard, you can get an actual car in your business name from Ford, Toyota. But if you're talking about getting SBA funding, if you're talking about getting funding from other lenders, third-party lenders, you need to have all of these things in place to make sure that you're viable and you're on point. Make sure you have your taxes right. Make sure you have your expenses together. And I always tell people to have a business plan. People hate to hear that, but you need to have that. You need to have a roadmap to where you're going to go.
We're going to wrap here. I'm going to cover two more questions. Again, you guys, you do want to register for the event. I do have a total of 6 free tickets left for the event. So once you register for it, if you are part of the first 6, then I'll let you know, hey, you're good to go. You don't need to pay for your candles. So you're good to go. To make your candles, you're good to go. So make sure you take care of that link. Also, Tanya has a book that you can gain access to. So make sure you use that link, and then I will definitely be communicating with you about a step-by-step guide to assist you in better understanding how to build your business credit. There's also where she offers some levels of one-on-one coaching where she can assist you if you need someone to kind of guide you through the process. So you want to use that link so that we know how to communicate with you. Aside from that, Tanya, you made a very good differentiation between two things. You talked about business credit, and then you talked about business funding, right? And that is a huge separate thing, because we talk about credit when we're just talking about getting a credit card, putting your car up under your name, but then there's a whole different conversation. You're moving from credit to funding, right?
Yep.
That's a whole different conversation. And in order to get funding, you have to have credit, right? So you have to get there, but it's definitely not the same conversation. So you talked about funding. For those of you that are taking notes, funding is going to fall up under SBA. When you're talking about getting investors, other third parties, giving you money to do what it is that you're doing. So I wanted to be very clear on the difference between credit. Now, while there are entrepreneurs that have organized themselves with proper entities, whether it's an LLC, whether it's a sole prop, LLC or a S corp or a C corp, whether they've done that or not, but some of them are not as large. Let's say they're more like personal trainers, they're more like coaches, they're more like tax preparers. So what advice would you give to them in terms of being able to leverage that relationship with with business credit?
Everything that I stated is for a 2-person, 1-person LLC or S corp. You can have a 1-person S corp. So all of these steps, all of the things that I try to teach people, it goes for a multi-member LLC.
Okay, so let me ask that question again then, just so I can be a little clear. So you talked about having the Dun and Bradstreet number so that you can do business all around the world. But I'm thinking about some of my clients that I work with where they work more in this one-on-one personal type of way. So what are some of the benefits for them building their business credit? Because if you're talking about getting a vendors list and things like that, how would that work out for them in those regards?
Even if you are a local business and you don't think about the fact that you want to go global, you can use the business credit and the building the vendors list to get gas cards. And because remember, we started this conversation off by talking about not commingling our funds, not using our personal credit cards. When we can get past that, and everything can be on the business level, and that's what we want. So we want to make sure that we start to move away from taking money out of our personal account to fund business ventures or to do an expansion as a personal trainer. I know one personal trainer in Michigan, he had a smaller space, and then he went and got a larger space. And, he wanted to make sure that his lease was not guaranteed or using his personal name as a cosigner. And the fact that they could run his business credit, and let me just say this too, I didn't mention this earlier, Just like you have a personal credit score, you have a business credit score. Once you start building business credit, your Paydex or IntelliScore, which is the business credit score, which is from 0 to 100, unlike your personal credit score, which is 300 to 850, that will start to build. So when a business vendor starts to look to find out what you have as far as business credit, they will check that business credit score. And some vendors report through Dun & Bradstreet, and some vendors report through EIN, your tax ID number. So you need to have both to make sure that you can get your business credit score up.
So yes, totally. Okay. I hope that everyone is feeling a whole lot richer than when they came in. I hope that their mind is expanding in terms of how they can grow and develop their business so that they can position themselves for both credit and funding. We're going to go ahead and wrap this conversation. I have dropped the links for you guys. If you have specific questions about building your business credit, you can use the link. You can definitely register for the larger event. We have one question from Denise Chambers, and she's asking that she used her LLC name on her. Should she use her LLC name on her website, or should she be using her DBA?
I would say she should be used. It depends. You know, some people have the LLC as a holding company, and then they'll have a number of DBAs under that. So if your DBA is going to be a separate type of business, and then you're going to have another DBA that's being held by this LLC, it's another type of business. It depends on what you're doing. So, my answer, I know people hate lawyers sometimes because the answer is always, it depends, but it really does depend.
It always depends. It depends on a few different circumstances. It always depends, right? So again, I hope that you guys were able to expand your mind as well as expand your purse and your wallet through this conversation. Make sure that you use the link. If you have some questions, you can definitely email me some questions that maybe you didn't get in just now. We'll be right back here next week talking about what have you already messed up your business credit, right? And what to do, how to rebound, how to get it off, and how to keep moving. Okay, so if you have specific questions about building your business credit, be sure to leave it in the comment section, and we'll use them for next week's show. We did have a couple of sharers up in here and a couple of taggers. So Nina, you asked a really great question. We really appreciate you. And then we also had Jessica doing quite a bit of tagging here as well. So, and Gina as well. So make sure you guys run over to, you guys go ahead and run over to use the link, because I have a total of 6 tickets that I'm just going to give away because I want to make sure that your business credit is lit. I am going to give away a book. I'm definitely going to give away a book. I'm going to give this book, Are You Licensed in Florida? Luna asked if she licensed in Florida. No, she is not licensed in Florida. However, she can still assist you with building your business credit because that doesn't have any limitations. Okay, there's no limitations on that. So if you have specific questions about building your business credit to position you for funding and more credit, she can help you in any state, anywhere, and any place. Otherwise, she wouldn't be here, Luna. Hello. Okay. All right. I'm giving away a book. Let's see. Let me see. Nina's gonna get the book tonight. Lena, make sure you comment. Okay. You so funny, Mahala. That's right. Make sure you inbox me so that I can go ahead and get this book out to you. It's called 10 Things Every Woman Should Keep in Her Purse, okay? And for my sirs that are here with my sis, the good thing about the book is you can either give it to your mother, your sister, your cousin, your friend, or you can read it yourself because the information just goes and flows, all right? So I'll see you guys next week. I hope that you've enjoyed our time with us. I hope that you gained something to add some value to your purse. If you have questions, comments, the criticisms, we'll look at them, okay? And until next time, do something that's going to add value to your purse. Good night. Hello.